Wednesday, everybody. We are on our way over to UCF Arena to see a special edition of NXT tonight. But first, after work, weather-related traffic. So for those of you that have not followed us for a while, we've gone to a lot of NXT events over the years. We started going to FCW events prior to the name change of NXT. We went rather consistently, like virtually every taping from the beginning up until probably a few months ago at Full Sail University. And I by no means want to seem like I'm like some type of hipster to say I was there before everyone. But before NXT was a really big product and people were following it, and while it was in its kind of embryo stage at FCW, we had a lot of great experiences with folks that are on the main roster now and folks that have already left the main roster. One of the great things about NXT that always made it feel like it was really special is that it was very local based. NXT was always a Florida thing. It hasn't been for a very long time since their expansion into other markets, and they're kind of touring everywhere, all over the world basically at this point. And they're really used as a platform for generating or kind of just giving bigger stars like a launching platform onto the main roster these days. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, what has happened over the years is that the demand for NXT has gone through the roof, which made it very difficult to get tickets to attend any of the television tapings at Full Sail or any of the local house shows, which typically take place at like armories and things like that, in Florida at least. They kind of run like an A brand and a B brand now, with A being like the top names or stars, and that go on to like other markets where they charge normal ticket prices like for a WWE event, and the B-level brand are kind of the guys that are in training, and then we kind of get to see those guys perform on a regular basis at the armories at our local house shows. So the WWE and NXT have had a great relationship with Full Sail in that it allows students that are going through certain programs at Full Sail the opportunity to work on WWE programming, so it gives them some type of apprenticeship type of opportunities. Additionally, I believe the money that is earned from ticket sales for Full Sail events for WWE when they tape NXT goes into a pool for scholarships for the Full Sail students. Now, having said that, the WWE Performance Center is literally like a stone's throw away from Full Sail University. So with all that said, last year we went to a special taping event for NXT at UCF around the time of the Royal Rumble. It wasn't for a pay-per-view type of thing. I think they taped like maybe 4 episodes of their programming at the time. What it did at the time was kind of test the waters of charging regular ticket prices, like more in line with WWE events in Orlando versus what they normally would charge for taping seating at Full Sail. Full Sail taping generally runs $10 for general admission, $20 for the first 2 rows of seats around the ring. The WWE is bringing back NXT tonight to UCF at those types of ticket prices that are normal to like a WWE event, meaning that they are higher than what they would be charging at Full Sail. I wonder if they're testing the waters a little bit more to see if they can get that type of money out of the audience in Florida, since they've baked in this crowd, and there are a lot of us that feel like NXT kind of grew up with us. It's almost like a family type relationship. Having said that, tickets were on sale for NXT through Ticketmaster, which they're generally not for Full Sail. They're usually direct sale through Full Sail's website or on site at Full Sail, and meaning that Ticketmaster is able to latch on their service fees for the event, which generally were about more than the price of a general admission ticket to the Full Sail tapings themselves. So what does it all mean? We're going to UCF tonight because I had logged in today and saw that scalpers that were trying to turn a quick buck off of tickets for the event tonight must have been flooded with leftover tickets. So we ended up buying a ticket for about half the price of what it normally should have cost to get into the event for tonight. So cheap seats will be in the house. And that's typical Florida. This is a ridiculous parking meter. So that parking meter took my money, gave me a ticket, and then every single parking meter in this garage just shut off, and nobody can pay now. I feel like those are some crazy heel tactics. By the way, it's raining, and I don't have an umbrella. Ooh, it's like a different setup than the last time. Different building, smaller. This is quite possibly the worst seat of all time. So that was a very, very long show. 3.5 hours. The last two matches, though, well worth the entire wait for the night. Last two matches included Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno against Bobby Roode for the title, and then Shinsuke Nakamura against TJ Perkins, which had involvement at the end from Bobby Roode as well, which brought out Finn Balor. Amazing. Okay, we are back home, and I sent out a tweet earlier tonight. If you're not following us on Twitter, Twitter handle is either at Kyzman, it's Kyzman, or at VFTCS for View from the Cheap Seats. But the question was, basically, tweet me any Q&A type of question related to wrestling, and I'll try to answer the 5 best. And I think what I'm going to try to do is answer as many as I can in the next 5 minutes. So, first question from Dylan. If you could choose 5 wrestlers dead or alive to go to dinner with, who would you choose? Andre the Giant, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, Macho Man Randy Savage, Kevin Nash, and Kevin Owens, I think. Next question is from Jeremy. Since Andre the Giant has passed, has there ever been any wrestler worthy of the title Giant, and not including the Big Show? I think, obviously the Big Show was called the Giant in WCW. I don't think there'll ever be another wrestler like Andre the Giant. I think we've seen people that are as tall, and we've seen people that are muscular, but I don't think that we're in that era anymore. And I think that we have people now that are big. Like Big Show is really ripped these days, if you guys are paying attention to current product that's on TV. But we also have Braun Strowman, which I didn't realize is just about as tall as Big Show, but equally as ripped and very big and powerful. Kind of like a really modern version of Big John Studd, or bigger. So I don't know if we'll see somebody like Andre in the past, because I don't think that we typically are really looking for wrestlers like that anymore. Next question is from Michael Warbucks. We need more Michael Warbucks videos, drinking coffee, giving us the news. What main event or big match would you like to see at WrestleMania? I think right now the WWE is really putting out not that great of a product, and Mike has seen me rant about this on Twitter before, in that they have such a sandbox full of incredible talent. I mean, they go back to like 1980s, 1990s, when the roster was not nearly as deep as what they had today, and they managed to put on the best product for the talent that they had at the time. And you could build a whole show around just a couple of people. But having said that, there's so many people and not enough time to showcase everybody. So what main event would I put on for WrestleMania? You have The Shield intact, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and then you have essentially what you rated from New Japan Wrestling for the Bullet Club, with Finn, AJ, Carl Anderson, Nakamura. How do you not somehow put the Shield and the Bullet Club together? They're the two hottest properties, or were, when you rated for them, or rated them from New Japan, versus your talent that you've built up from the indie scene here and FCW NXT. I don't get it. Next one is from Tim. How do you feel about Goldberg Lesnar closing out WrestleMania? Should they rely on part-timers so much? No, they shouldn't. I think this WrestleMania that we're heading into in April is absolutely the worst card for any WrestleMania that I could think of back to, and I'm not sure which day it was, which number it was, if it was WrestleMania 7 or not, with the togas and so forth. There's so much talent on the roster, and they do a really, really awful job at putting out stuff based off the talent that they have. And I'll say this again, TNA pales in comparison with budget and with the roster, but they put out a better product based off of what is available today. So next one, also from Tim. What do you prefer, Raw or SmackDown at this point? SmackDown. I think the writing is better. Plus it's 2 hours. It's 3 hours on Raw, and for all of the people that they could put on the show, it's just, filling up time with horrible stuff. And one more from Tim. After all the recent call-ups, do you feel NXT has dropped in talent and popularity? And I'd say yes, it's dropped in talent. There's still talent out there. In popularity, I know that even on the WWE Network, it wasn't their biggest show. And that's after it was, and then it fell, in viewers. And I think that's because FCW, and as it morphed into NXT, was the developmental arm of WWE, just like OVW was in the past, Ohio Valley Wrestling. And it really became a goal all of a sudden of like, we're going to make NXT into its own show, kind of like, we're going to have our own competition, which is great because NXT was so much better than the WWE, and then you get to see all the guys that went from NXT that thought that they were graduating to this bigger product in WWE end up just riding the bench or jobbing out to other people. People forget that Bo Dallas was a champion in FCW, and he wasn't a bad champion. He was a good champion, and now, nothing. I think the advent of the Cruiserweight division should fill the slot for NXT folks, because I honestly think a lot of the talent that's on NXT today belongs on 205 Live or within the Cruiserweight division, including Finn Balor. And folks will argue about that, but he fits the mold, the weight ratio, etc. Those are folks that, if you went back into the 90s, they would definitely be classed as cruiserweights. Next one's from Ken. What was your first live show you went to, and who was your favorite wrestler growing up? I don't know what the first live show was. We used to go to shows all the time at Madison Square Garden. And I can say like the first WrestleMania that we went to was, I think, WrestleMania 2 at Nassau Coliseum. And the favorite wrestler growing up, and this question came up again later from Jeremy also. So just try to answer two questions at one time. Favorite wrestler growing up, Macho Man Randy Savage. And I'd say there's a couple of favorite wrestlers, but I'd say Macho Man, Bret Hart, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Those were probably top three as far as age of growing up. Next one's from John Stone. You're put in charge of booking for WWE. First move you would make is get rid of all of the rest of the booking people that are on the show and bring in people that know what they're doing with talent. Even if that means that it's fresh people. There are people out there that are writing for dirt sheets today and internet sites that know a million times better what to do with product. You know what I would probably do? Let me be honest. Bring back Jim Ross and let Jim Ross put his mind around some of these guys and figure out what to do. I would put together right now, before folks either start aging out or they are going to contract out to elsewhere. I don't know how long folks' contracts are, but you rated New Japan for Bullet Club, folks. Let's see, a big faction come to fruition. You may not be able to call them Bullet Club. Whatever you got to call them, call them. This is what people wanted to see when you started bringing them all together. And then you put them on different shows. Next one's from Sean. Which were you a fan more of during their primes, WCW, WWE? I'd say equal, but WCW had like a good 2 to 3 year run, and that was a show that if I needed to watch something live, I was watching WCW live, and I would watch WWE or WWF on DVR or videotape or whatever we were doing at the time. I think we were using DVR at the time. WCW smoked WWE for years with the NWO and stuff like that. So if I had to choose between that and the Austin era, I was certainly a big fan of Steve Austin and The Rock and that era, the Attitude Era. But WCW was just priority. Let's see. We got one from Tony. Do you think Finn Balor and Seth Rollins will be back in time to work at WrestleMania? Because it looks like they're training. Seth Rollins, I know the plan is that he will be back, and they're continuing that storyline for him and Triple H, so unless there's a problem where he can't come back. I think that he'll be there. Finn Balor, we saw return tonight. At NXT. He mentioned that he's not clear to wrestle yet, but I know that he's on track for WrestleMania, so whether they throw him in there as a fan type of service thing, I could see maybe a belt changing hands or something else and having Finn come out to challenge for it and kind of sending people home happy. He's owed the belt, in my opinion, because he didn't lose it fairly when he got hurt. Next one's from Frank. Favorite Mania match of all time and favorite overall Mania. WrestleMania 6, Hogan Warrior will always hold a place in his art. I think the best WrestleMania of all time was WrestleMania 3. And my favorite match was the Savage Steamboat match. That was such a story that built up over time that was awesome. And the story built up between Hogan and Andre at the time, also awesome. And that story continued all the way through WrestleMania 4. And those were the days where, you know, you didn't have to rely on Monday Night TV or keep producing things. You don't have to see something all the time in order for the payoff to be fantastic. The payoff was awesome because I think of the anticipation and gap for those matches. But and WrestleMania 3 also had the Bulldogs and the Hearts going at it. Phenomenal card. And if folks are watching this that they're too young and they didn't see that at the time, you guys should owe it to yourselves to watch on WWE Network WrestleMania 3. One from Jeremy. Which wrestler would you love to meet or see wrestle? I think that we've probably seen just about everybody that we've ever wanted to see wrestle. Who would I want to meet? We've met an awful lot of folks. I don't think that there's really anybody. I will say this. The only person that I didn't meet at FCW or NXT that I would have wanted to have met at the time and didn't have the opportunity because I think they were a little bit more reclusive was Seth Rollins. And I think we pretty much saw everybody else. Another one from Jeremy. What would be your dream match to see at WrestleMania? It's tough to say because of the talent that's out there today. But I'd love to see, you know, like an AJ Finn Balor match. I think that would be ridiculously good. Yeah, let's go with AJ and Finn Balor for right now. Or even AJ, Finn, and Nakamura together, you know, triple threat. And I think that is it. So we went over the 5 minutes, and I apologize for going over a little bit there. Before I go, because this has been a really wrestling-centric vlog, folks keep asking if we're going to WrestleMania. Yes, we'll be at WrestleMania. We'll be at WrestleMania that Sunday. That Saturday, we'll be at Ring of Honor in Lakeland, Florida. That's where the Hardys are going to challenge the Bucks of Youth for their championships or titles or gold. And during the day on that Saturday, I believe we'll be at WrestleCon, which is a convention. That Friday before WrestleMania, we will be at Fan Access for the WWE. And that Thursday, I believe we'll be at a WrestlePro show. And there may be other stuff thrown in there somewhere. But that weekend, we'll definitely be around doing all of these wrestling-centric things. And on that note, it's time to say goodnight. So thank you for all of your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Have a great night. We'll see you guys.